I know Jeff pretty well. He's a very responsible journalist.
Thank
God.
Thank God he was.
And thank God, because some other idiot maybe wouldn't have sat on this and done the responsible thing. But I think, to me, everything Van just said is correct, and I share those concerns. To me, the most alarming part of this is that we are hearing Mike Waltz and Donald Trump say, well, we learned our lesson. He learned a lesson. This is not an internship. No, I mean, I'm serious. The national security of our nation shouldn't be where we're doing on-the-job training. It shouldn't be where we're figuring it out as we go. If we can't trust our national security leaders to protect our national security from the second they get on the job, I have deep, deep concerns that go far beyond this mess that just happened.
The idea today, the main thrust of the White House argument all day seemed to be Jeffrey Goldberg's still a bad guy, which explains how we managed to invite him on this group chat. And secondly, it maybe wasn't classified because Pete Hegseth sent it.
Yeah,
Is that satisfying? I mean, that really was the message today from the White House.
Yeah, and none of us have seen, what was supposedly war plans, and there's still a dispute over just how sensitive it really was. But I do think it's noteworthy that the White House is able to acknowledge a mistake, say they're going to learn from it, say they're trying to figure out the technical issues that led to it. I mean, they did own up to it. I mean, obviously, there's been some rhetoric and hyperbole around Goldberg and others, who, by the way, I agree, acted responsibly in this particular case, even though if I have some quibbles with what he's done in the past. He did absolutely act responsibly here. So I think that's actually kind of a refreshing thing for the government to say, okay, yes, effed up, we'll fix it, this won't happen again, especially when you contrast it with previous military and national security snafus in our recent history in which no one was held accountable, no one was fired, no mistakes were admitted until the very end. Joe Biden was saying Afghanistan was a success. I like it here that Donald Trump, the president, said he's a good man, but he learned a lesson. That tells me he and the president with Waltz had a hard talk.
The information about targets, the weapons being used, the timing, that's not of concern?
Look, I don't have kids, but I feel like this is when you walk into a room and you told your kid, don't draw on the wall, and they drew on the wall, and they have marker all over their face and all over their hand, and they're like, I didn't do it. Yes, you did. We're not stupid. You did it. And you're not really admitting. You're like, well, I'm sorry, but not really sorry. We deserve better. Who is being held accountable? Who is running the investigation?
Well, Michael Waltz is running the investigation.
I know.
That's what the president said today, Michael Waltz.
That was kind of tongue-in-cheek, right?
He has to, because he's the one in control of it.
It's
But he's the one who
Dick
made the
Cheney
mistake.
being the vice president.
You guys are acting like he went out. You guys are acting like he ran out with a mask and robbed a bank. He obviously had a technical snafu, and he needs in his office to figure out how it happened.
But here's the thing. The thing is, don't be on signal.
We know how it happened.
The technical.
Don't be on the app.
I've done this a lot of times. I've been on emails where I'm like, ooh, I wasn't supposed to be on that. I delete it, keep it moving, don't spread the tea. But what he did, but I don't work in the White House anymore. He should not have been on signal for that to happen. There's a way to avoid the mistake.
And there's a reason. I think sometimes people at home are like, well, people break rules, blah, 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 blah. No. We have geopolitical adversaries that want this information so they can kill Americans. That's the gun to your head every day in the White House is what I'm doing. If I don't handle it right, can have devastating consequences. So you handle every piece of paper. You don't even throw stuff away. You put it in a burn bag.
That's right.
So it can be burned. You are so terrified that you're going to do something to get Americans killed. So the idea that you have the vice president of the United States on signal?
I know.
Wow. That's nuts.
But John, look, they're doing the right thing in terms of acknowledging that an error occurred. You have to do that. Number two, you have to move forward with a comprehensive review of how did this occur. And then you implement stricter communications protocols moving forward so that it doesn't happen again. Now, look, you can go from Democratic administrations to Republican administrations and find various issues as it pertains to intelligence. 1995 CIA disinformation controversy. Valerie Plame, where her name was accidentally leaked when it shouldn't have. Hillary Clinton and the 33,000 emails, and some of those emails had classified information on it. It shouldn't have occurred. And then to Scott's point, look at Joe Biden in Afghanistan. Every administration, Republican and Democrat alike, have had some type of snafu with something like this pertaining to highly classified information. We correct it, we acknowledge it, and we move forward. And that's what the
But
administration
the
is
difference
attempting
is
to
the
do.
people responsible now were yelling, lock her up.
That's right. The
About those things.
hypocrisy,
And
yeah.
they weren't right about that. They were right that she messed up, and I held her accountable as well. All of that was bad. But the hypocrisy is so rank. These very people are giddily firing people who know what they're doing. And should be there. And meanwhile, no one's going to be held accountable for that.
Also,
but you know what? It's
Sir Michael,
also
just real
hypocrite-
quick,
Go ahead,
there
Ash.
already are things. Like, we don't need to put new rules in place. There already are rules. They broke the rules. That's the thing.
Two sets
is that
of
they two sets of rules, right? They were on a form of communication they should not have been on. They knew better and they did not do better. When you know better and you do not do better, you face consequences.